What's up, Carl? So I watched the new Total Recall the other night, the one from 2012 with Colin Farrell and, yes, Kate Beckinsale. The basic idea of Total Recall is that it's in the future and you can go to a place called Recall and they will actually implant memories into your brain and you will think that they actually happen forever. So if you have a fantasy and you want to live out your fantasy, you can do that at Recall. How does that even work? So let's say that you've always wanted to visit Mars. What happens when you have this memory and then all of a sudden you've got to go back to work on Monday? I guess I'm just not real clear on how these memories help make life better. Maybe it's like a virtual simulator. I can see that. Like, this is a fun experience, we're gonna go do it, it's not real. What memory would I even choose? Traveling through space, being a famous athlete, being a secret agent? And who's writing the program anyway? Maybe their version of a special agent program is nothing like the special agent I want to be. The 2012 version of Total Recall is a remake of the 1990 version of Total Recall, which is an adaptation of a story by Philip K. Dick from the 1960s. That story was called We Can Remember It For You Wholesale. You'd probably be surprised at how many movies actually came from Philip K. Dick's stories. Blade Runner, A Scanner Darkly, Minority Report, Paycheck, The Adjustment Bureau, Next. I know Nicolas Cage is kind of weird, but I kind of like Next, or at least the idea of Next, which is based on a story in part from 1954 called The Golden Man. Carl, as a writer, Dick also played around with the questions of, like, what does it mean to be human? At essence, what are we? Do we have a soul? Or is there even an ultimate reality? As a history teacher, one of my favorite questions to ask is, can we trust memory? Essentially, that's all history is memory. And even if we're being honest, sometimes our mind is not reliable. Our memories play tricks on us. So wouldn't that be interesting? You go into Total Recall and you get these memories implanted, but then you don't even really have an accurate recollection of them? Just because something is put into our brain doesn't mean it's going to stay there accurately. Even a false memory implanted as reality within us could still get sidetracked. Just like a real memory can sometimes be completely misinterpreted. I forget stuff all the time. Why can't I forget a memory I paid to have implanted into my brain? I can't remember anything. In Total Recall, the main character asks the question, if I'm not me, then who am I? And this guy Matthias says, it is the quest of each man to discover who he truly is. But you're not going to find that answer in the past, you're going to find it in the present. Then Quaid says, but the past tells us who we've become. So Matthias says that the past is a construct of the mind that fools us into believing it, but really the heart wants to live in the present. I guess that means we should look to our hearts if we want to find the answers. That sentiment doesn't really mean much if you've ever tried it, IMHO. However, I do agree with the sentiment that who we are is not dictated by who we've been. We should be careful to not let the past rob us of our present. And I suppose there's a whole other argument about how we could also be so preoccupied with the future that we also have that rob us of the now. I guess the moral of the story is that we should learn from the past, be mindful of the future, and live in the now. And what does the king of modern sci-fi movies think of all this? Well, nothing, and we'll never know. He died in 1982 before Blade Runner, his first adapted movie, was even released. Pretty amazing that he was able to cast so many futuristic views of reality by pretending that there really is no reality. See you next time, Carl. So if I think it happened, it really did happen to me.